What is up, heroes? This is Midnight Zero, and welcome to my team builder for my very first match of the SFL, my very first match of Generation 7, Pokemon Sun and Moon. If you can't tell, as you'll see in the battle too, I'm sick right now. I can barely chat, and, I'm just doing this because, I don't know. I don't want to do this next week, and I want to move on to the next battle, but regardless, looking at his team, some real threats, and I'm really not familiar with all of them. He's got Salazzle, Victini, Bisharp, Mega Sceptile, the list goes on. Some real fast, strong fire types, Scarf Victini, Bandit Victini. To me, Bisharp is always super intimidating. Mega Sceptile, super fast, what a threat. And even his lower tier mons are typically slower, but really can pack a punch. So my natural instinct, or my first instinct, was to build a team that can tank hits and then dish out, damage, but that's not really the team I have. The team I have is hyper offense. The pool of mons I've been given and chosen are offensive, so I can't afford to switch out often to count on things taking hits. I have to pull double switches or sack mons, and that's what hyper offense comes down to a lot of times. So first thing is, his team is really weak to ground type, or at least the better mons of his team really are. So one of the things I wanted to make sure is I had a lot of ground coverage on my mons. And when looking at his top mons, Mega Metagross immediately came to mind. Meteor Mash hits so many things so hard. Zen Headbutt hits so hard. And then Earthquake. And then to deal with potentially Scarf threats or his faster threats, we got Rock Polish. And you're probably like, but wait, why do you have Rock Polish? Only 28 speed EVs. That's because before the Rock Polish, all I really need to outspeed is Bisharp. So that's the speed that's there. And after Rock Polishing, I outspeed even Scarf Victini. So that's really all the speed I needed, and so that's all the speed I took. I also outspeed Adamant. It's called Mimikyu. Which is like the typical set to run because it really doesn't pack a lot of punch without that plus attack nature. And then of course the rest went into HP to potentially tank some more hits, which is just appealing to my personality and my battle style. The next mon we got here is our Gengar. Now Gengar was something I was really excited to use. It is such a threat. It hits so hard. So I was really excited to do, max special attack, almost max speed, Life Orb, Gengar, Shadow Ball, Sludge Wave. Both of those hit so many mons so hard on his team, and Hidden Power Fighting is there for Bisharp and for a little Sand Slash because I hate having to miss potentially with Focus Blast. So as I always advise, if you don't want to miss Focus Blast, just use Hidden Power Fighting, and that's exactly what I'm doing. Also, because Bisharp is such a threat, I brought Destiny Bond because if he wants to Sucker Punch and I go for Destiny Bond, it won't affect me, and the next turn if he wants to Sucker Punch me, his attack will go before mine, meaning Destiny Bond will still be active and hold die. But if he doesn't Sucker Punch, I outspeed him and I go for HP Fighting and KO him. And if I go for Destiny Bond in the first turn, and he just doesn't even mess around with Sucker Punch and goes for knockoff, he dies too. So it's kind of a guaranteed way to take down Bisharp with me, presumably after I've KO'd some other mon. So yeah, it works really well. It doesn't add or doesn't help out with my own ground weaknesses because it's got Curse Body this generation, and not Levitate, which is a little less than annoying, or a little annoying, but it's got 347 speed to outspeed. What is it exactly? I forget. There's something that hits 346 speed. I think it's Ursaring with Quick Feet, maybe. I think that's what it's it. That's what's it. But this thing should be hitting hard. Very few switch-ins, if any, to it. Moving on, we got Infernape. Just run the Black Belt, Iron Fist, just to hit hard with, close combat, Fire Punch, Mach Punch. This is my Stealth Rocker. Typically, lead Infernape runs Sash with rocks, but this thing is here to get up rocks, build up that little chip damage, potentially get some KOs for Gengar, Metagross, etc. And Fire Punch hits a lot of things hard. We've got Mega Sceptile, it even 2 KOs Mimikyu, it hits Bisharp really hard, it hits Excelgor, which is very much a thing as well. It hits Vikavolt, not really sure how to say it, and it hits Sand Slash really hard. So that's why that's there. Mach Punch is there in case he gets Slush Rush, Sand Slash going, or to deal with Sucker Punch games if I don't have a lot of health left with Bisharp. To potentially get a Sucker Punch or a Mach Punch off on Mega Sceptile. We do take any hit from Mega Sceptile and we KO with the combination of Close Combat into Mach Punch, which is really cool. Close Combat's also there for Snorlax and for Beware. So yeah, this thing is overall just gonna put a couple dents in the team and get rocks up. That's the main goal, and it's mostly there for, like I said, those fire types, those mons that are weak to potentially priority or could potentially outspeed the rest of my team. Next mon, we got our Drapion, which is Black Sludge, Battle Armor, Earthquake, Knockoff, Poison Jab, Toxic Spikes, and you'll notice it's got a lot of bulk. It's running almost max PDEF, plenty of HP, just enough speed to outspeed some of his slower threats. Nothing too crazy. I want to outspeed, like, you know, Beware, Toucannon, etc., and Earthstring, of course, so that I can hit a lot of those mons with an Earthquake, Knockoff, get rid of items. Poison Jab is there for Mega Sceptile. Most importantly, this thing can tank a hit from Salazzle. That's like its main job, because Salazzle outspeeds and kills like everything else in my team. So it's here to tank one of those hits and KO back with Earthquake. It's also there to get up Toxic Spikes to pressure him to bring in his Salazzle, and to potentially wear things down. You know, that little bit of 12% damage, you know, a little bit of poison could be the difference between Oko and you know, my own mon dying. So that's hyper offense for you. So that's why this is here, and that's about all there is really to it. It takes special hits, helps out with Blastoise, and Mega Sceptile, of course, too. This is like this is my only really switch into Mega Sceptile. And then we got Komida, my Xurkitree. I'm so excited to use this thing. I was really not sure what to do with this, because running Scarf would not be a good idea with Mega Sceptile, but outside of that, it was really, he has a striking weakness to this mon. This mon does so much work. So I was, you know, planning definitely Thunderbolt, it unboosted, just Oko Salazzle, straight up. It's got a timid nature, it's got just enough speed to outspeed Bisharp, otherwise it's not outspeeding anything faster than Bisharp, so why invest those EVs in speed when you can throw them in stuff like HP and defense to potentially take hits, and to hit leftovers numbers so that you recover HP optimally. But yeah, you'll notice I'm running leftovers, which doesn't really help out with its like special attack or anything, which doesn't really need a lot of help, but it is actually the difference between potentially taking a Dragon Pulse from Mega Sceptile if he decides to bring that and doesn't bring Leaf Storm. So I can take a Dragon Pulse, Calm Mind up, and then KO it with HP Ice, and from there I pretty much take on everything. Also allows me to heal up a little bit as I knock things out. So that's pretty cool. And yeah, the moves, Thunderbolt, Great Stab, Dazzling Gleam, it hits Mega Sceptile hard if he wants to try to switch that in. It also hits Bisharp decently. It also hits Vikavolt for more than HP Ice would, or Signal Beam would. So it's just kind of good neutral coverage more so than anything. Hidden Power Ice is there for Mega Sceptile, and that's pretty much it. Oko is it right off the bat, and Calm Mind is there so that, you know, my special attack just keeps going higher and higher. Nothing can really take that on, and so I can actually take one hit from potentially Salazzle, potentially from Mega Sceptile, potentially from Excelgor, and definitely from Blastoise, maybe Vikavolt as well, which will help me like start my sweep and continue my sweep, whereas typically with Xurkitree you're forced out by something that, you know, hits you hard and takes advantage of your weaker defenses, but this Calm Mind would help out with that. And then lastly we got Flygon, the only thing on my team that's not weak to ground type attacks. So it's Levitate, and it's pretty much there because up until this point Victini was a huge threat. So this thing takes on Choice Band of Victini really well, and after a Dragon Dance pretty much just sweeps his entire team. Mimikyu was a bit of a threat, but we actually live a play rough. We 2 a KO with Earthquake, especially after a Dragon Dance. Outrage does so much damage, and Roost, so that I can recover off on things like Victini. Things I switch out. We take on Bisharp 1v1, which is really nice. And yeah, we hit Snorlax really hard. As long as it doesn't have one curse up already, we beat that 1v1. Hit Toucannon hard, hit Vikavolt hard. You know, it's pretty straightforward. It's really physically bulky, and it's the only thing on my team that can really take physically bulky hits. I mean, maybe Infernape, I mean, especially because I'm going to be willing to sack that earlier on than the rest of my mons. But yeah, that's the main goal, is get some hazards up really early on, have Drapion there to potentially tank a special hit and get some damage off or set up Toxic Spikes. Flygon there is a little bit of a physical tank. My potential only like physical pivot really, and then Gengar to just dent the team, and then potentially Metagross or Xurkitree to sweep at the end after a Rock Polish or after a Calm Mind. So it should be good. I'm really scared. hyper offense is not my style, and this is very much stepping out of my comfort box. So I'm looking forward to giving it a go, trying out the play style, and playing a little bit riskier, because that's tough for me. But that's what hyper offense requires, and plays very aggressively. So see how it goes, and be sure to check it out when the battle does come out. It should be the day after you watch this. And yeah, I hope you guys are excited, just as much as I am. But until then, this has been Midnight Zero, and this mission is complete.